Welcome back. The PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League, which launched its first season last year with 6 inaugural teams, has announced Vancouver will be the site of the league's first expansion franchise. The puck drops next season in Season 3 in Vancouver. For more, we're joined by Amy Scheer. She's Executive Vice President of Business Operations at the PWHL. Amy, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Congratulations on all the success that the PWHL has had in attracting such large audiences and really redefining in many ways the way hockey fans view the sport that we all love. Why was Vancouver the right place to expand?
Well, first, thanks for having me. Appreciate your interest in the PWHL and our league, but Vancouver just crossed off so many things on our list. We had a long checklist when we went out and looked at expansion, and number one was facilities. We go to the Pacific Coliseum as the main tenant, the primary tenant there, which is a first for us. Practice facility, the Agrodome is right next door. We get to reimagine now these facilities and build out locker rooms and facilities for our players that are made specifically for them, which is a pretty neat opportunity. When we look at Vancouver from an economic opportunity, just a huge fan base there that has engaged with us via social media, engaged with us at our takeover tour game. The youth hockey in BC has grown significantly. The hockey registration now for youth is about 50-50 boys to girls, and we want to help continue to build that momentum and get more girls in the game. There's a vibrant partnership and sponsorship community there. So many positives. And also, by the way, as you know, Canada, Vancouver is the 3rd largest market there. And so many things that just made sense for the PWHL to go to Vancouver as our first expansion market.
And you may have mentioned this, forgive me if you did. Is Rogers Arena the home of the Vancouver Canucks? Is that the venue that the team will play at?
No, we'll actually be playing out of the Pacific Coliseum,
right,
which is part of the PNE
right,
complex there. So going to do some renovations to the building and get it to the place where it's 100% quality and ready to roll for us.
What's the seating capacity at the Pacific Coliseum?
16,000.
16, and what so that's significantly larger than the Coca-Cola Coliseum, which is the arena that I'm familiar with here in Toronto. I believe that's 9,000 or so. Do you expect to sell out 16,000 seats?
I don't know what to expect quite yet. I think that we'll sell out opening day. I think we're going to have a significant audience there. We've gone on sale already with season ticket deposits, and the response has been overwhelming. And so we think from an attendance record, we'll be in a really good position and do really well in Vancouver. Can I promise you we'll sell out every game? No. Will we sell out some? Yes. But I think from an attendance perspective, we'll be in very good shape there.
I've wanted to buy a ticket in Toronto, and I can't because the games in Toronto all appear to be sold out, so I haven't made it there yet. Talk to us about the process. One unique characteristic of the PWHL is the teams are all owned by the same ownership group. It's Mark Walters and I believe his wife. They are best known, well, they may be best known now for this, but they are also, I believe, the ownership of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They've done so much for women's sports and women's hockey. So this was not a typical process that we see in other leagues where different ownership groups in different cities vie and bid to become the city that gets selected. What was this process like? This sounds like a process where the Walters would have been involved in looking at different markets and making a decision.
You know, we have an internal leadership group that would gathered with our board. I report into a board, which is Stan Kasten, who runs the Dodgers, the president of the Dodgers, Royce Cohen from the Dodgers, and Billie Jean King and Alana Kloss. And so what we did is we, as a group, we sat down, we put together what are the criteria that we have for expansion. And we had a list and a model. And once we had our criteria, we reached out across multiple markets in the U.S. and Canada, and the markets that had interest responded to an RFP that we supplied them. And once we had the responses from the RFP, we went through them and we engaged in conversations, more in-depth conversations with the interested markets, and ultimately settled on Vancouver being the first market. And of course, you know, that involved a lot of work on the back end. What do the financials look like? You know, what are all the criteria? How does travel fit into it? So many things to look at. And then, the board brings that to the Walter Group, and then ultimately, we make the decision and are in agreement, and we move forward. So certainly the Walter Group, we're so lucky to have them as owners. They're willing to invest and grow this sport. And Vancouver is really team number one in a multi-year process of continuing to grow the sport of women's hockey.
Major League Soccer also began in its early years with one owner owning many of the teams, if not all. That I believe is the And Such group of Los Angeles. Is it the ambition of the PWHL eventually to have these teams move into separate ownership?
I would imagine that there's a timeline associated with that, but I think while we're in growth mode, it will continue to stay single entity for the foreseeable future.
Is there more expansion planned?
There is. This is definitely the first year of a multi-year process. We'll announce shortly a second team also for next season. So we're continuing to grow and build the sport of hockey. So year one of a multi-year expansion process.
This league must be so transformational in the way that young women or girls who are elite hockey players in their towns and cities around North America, perhaps in Europe as well, view their athletic futures. What's the message of the league to girls, young women, and parents of players who are at an elite level in female hockey? What's your message to them?
Yeah, dream big, and put the time in, put the work in, and we're here for you. We are building a sustainable league that will be here for generations to come. And the goal is to build the sport and provide an outlet for these young girls to have a place to play professionally and aspire throughout their development. And so we're here for you. We love our games where people have their signs about, one day I want to be a PWHL player, and how much they love our athletes. And so we're here. Get on the ice and get practicing.
Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. Amy Scheer is Executive Vice President of Business Operations at the PWHL.